Welcome, everyone. This is Hannah Carr and Sarah King. We're excited to be here live with you today. How are you doing today, Sarah?
Yeah, very good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm feeling really good. I went to a static dance last night, so it's lifted my energy, and I'm like, yes!
Yeah,
Place.
that is such an incredible way to raise your vibes, isn't it?
I know. Time away from the computer and out in nature, it was brilliant. So, this is our talk on how to overcome anxiety with medicinal chocolate, because who doesn't love chocolate? Okay, I meet the occasional person and I think something's seriously wrong with them. No, I know not everyone loves it, but most people do love chocolate, are chocoholics, are constantly spending money on chocolate, buying chocolate, drinking, get in front of the camera, drinking chocolate. So we want to explain how it can actually help you with your health. And if you're interested in trying this in person, we are at Kent Wellness Festival this weekend on Sunday, doing a talk. Good morning, whoever said hello to us. Thanks for the comment. Yeah, give us a heart if you're seeing this on replay or live, or give us a comment. We love to connect. So we are going to be live at Kent Wellness Festival, where you can get to try the ceremonial grey cacao if you haven't already. But if you're thinking it sounds too good to be true on how chocolate can actually help your anxiety, we're going to explain in about the next 20 minutes how that can be. So when we deal with anxiety, normally we have go-tos. So things that are going to lift our mood, or things that are going to bring comfort to us. And usually from the women that we work with, they tell us it's things like caffeine, so a lovely like milky coffee, alcohol, cold glass of white wine, or nice rioja in the red wine in the winter by the fireplace, or sugar, right? So you go into these go-tos, and these are causing your anxiety symptoms to be worse. And when we say anxiety symptoms, what do we mean? The ones we see commonly, and there's lots, are digestive discomforts, so IBS type symptoms. So it might be cramps, it might be loose bowels, maybe fluctuating to constipation. A lot of worry, a lot of overthinking that's leading to insomnia, that's leading to affecting our sleep. So these are the kind of symptoms that we work with women and we overcome regularly. And there's lots of health practices. Actually, we bang on about these health practices that can help you. So things like yoga, breathwork, meditation, we are fans. But we also know from our own personal experience that sometimes in the moment of that feeling anxious, that panic attack, that feeling stressed out, you don't feel like rolling out your mat and practicing yoga, or you find it too hard to calm your mind to actually drop into a meditative state. So you actually want something that's easier than that. You actually want something that's reassuring. You want something that perhaps feels like a bit of a hug when no one else is around in that moment. So we'd love for you just to take a moment, actually drop in the comments if you're with us. What is your go-to when you feel anxious or stressed? So is it the caffeine, sugar, alcohol that we mentioned? Perhaps it's tech. Perhaps you pick up your phone and some mindless scrolling. We're all guilty of that. Like no guilt or shame about that. It's just becoming aware of the habits that we've actually got. And you'll probably find that it does help you in the moment, but it may leave you feeling more frazzled or more anxious longer term. So if you are on tech a lot, for example, that's not going to help your insomnia, right? If you are having that glass of wine, which is going to take the edge off the stress or the anxiousness, the next morning you might wake up feeling more anxious. That's a lot of the feedback that we get from alcohol.
So anxiety, really, we use the word a lot, but what does it mean? It means your nervous system is on constant alert. You're in your survival side. This is your sympathetic nervous system, which is great. It's doing a job, but it's doing it too much. It's working too hard, and it is just leaving you tired but wired, So it might be, like Hannah said, affecting your sleep. You're either not being able to fall to sleep because your thoughts are on, they're going so fast, they're on high alert, or you might be falling to sleep because you're exhausted and then waking up in the middle of the night with all of these thoughts running through your head. And when our sleep is affected, of course, that's going to affect us the next day as well. And that tends to be, when we're anxious, is why we go for, like Hannah mentioned, the caffeine or the sugar. And let's just break down a little bit about why caffeine might not be a good idea if you are already feeling anxious. So a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, or a cup of normal hot chocolate, there's going to be some caffeine in there. And caffeine, although it's a stimulant, so it helps you to feel more alert and awake, so you can do those jobs that you need to do, get through the day. What it does to the body is it acts on the vessels, the blood vessels. It's a vasoconstrictor. So it tightens everything up, it elevates the heart rate, it elevates the blood pressure, it makes your breathing go faster. And we know when we're relaxed, we're breathing slowly, we're breathing calmly. When we're going into a stress state or maybe a panic attack, we overbreathe, we go into hyperventilation. And this is putting us at risk for so many health concerns. It's bringing us out of homeostasis into a mild state of sort of chronic stress. And this is pushing us into the need for medication. And it puts us at risk of things like cardiovascular diseases and even, heart attack in the worst case scenario. And then the other side is if you're reaching more for the sugar, like Hannah mentioned, it might be the biscuit tin or the chocolate bar or the cake to make you feel kind of soothed and a little bit energized. Long term, this sugar is so damaging to our health that we don't, realize it on a day-to-day basis. But once again, is spiking our blood sugar levels. And this puts us on this sort of merry-go-round, this up and down, the blood sugar going up. We're having this high of energy, and then we come crashing down, and then we need to reach for another stimulant or snack. And so then our cravings are affected. We really feel the need. I need something now. I feel dizzy. I feel unwell. I need to have something to eat.
Yeah.
Which will then affect possibly weight gain, which then affects confidence. And this sugar, this is actually affecting our aging. It speeds up cell and skin aging. It brings in inflammation to the body. We know it's not good for our joints. And it is actually really linked to dementia now. They're saying that dementia is a disease of diet, so too much sugar in the diet. And then in turn, when we feel like this, when our health is out of whack and our energy is out of whack, it's going to affect our relationships, isn't it? So energy might be up and down. We might be a bit unpredictable with mood, probably less enthusiasm for things. We might not be able to show up to our commitments in the way that we want to. And ultimately, we're feeling stressed. So we're not feeling our best.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like a great thing, does it? So, these coping techniques, sugar, caffeine, they may have been helping you in the moment to get through the day, but they're not helping you in the long term. They're not a great strategy. They're going to keep you stuck in that fight or flight, which is keeping you stuck in a survival mode, and we don't want you there. So you may know us already. We are part of the Holistic Health Collective. My name is Sarah. I'm a trauma-informed yoga teacher and a breath coach, and I found my way onto the mat and into these practices because of my chronic state of anxiety. So I was hypervigilant, I had panic disorder and panic attacks, and I found that using meditation, yoga and breathwork as a preventative tool is a really fantastic way to control anxiety. And over to Hannah.
Yay! So I'm Hannah Carr. I'm a nutritionist, Sarah's sister, if you didn't already know. And I run a company called The Nourished Body, and I help women with nutrition who are fatigued, stressed and overwhelmed. And just like Sarah, I found my way into that path, and this is often in the holistic industry, because that's what I was struggling with. Then we wanted to bring our sort of tools, our skills together and go, look, we've got quite a lot we can offer people here to help them with their health between us. So we started the business that Sarah mentioned, Holistic Health Collective, more than 2 years ago now. Must be getting on for 2.5 years now. Hey, Sarah.
Yeah.
And we run a membership for women there, where we help them balance their emotions. We help them with their energy as well. But then we trained as cacaoistas. Now, if you've never heard that word before, it means that we're trained in pure cacao, pure cacao, because of its many health benefits, and we'll go through them with you and why it specifically can help you with anxiety in a little bit. Yes, that's what it looks like before you chop it up and blend it into a drink. Thank you for showing that, Sarah. Right, Sam, no need to apologise. Sam said, sorry, a bit late joining. was looking for us in the other group, and another Facebook user said that they go to chocolate, coffee, and mindless scrolling. Yeah, so the things that we mentioned, we sort of know because we do, and we work with a lot of women who tell us, right? They're the things that we go into. So I guess before we had phones, it wasn't any of the mindless scrolling; it was just the coffee, chocolate, and alcohol. Then probably
maybe the cigarette back in the day.
Yeah, maybe cigarette. Yeah. So I wanted to share a story of one of our members, actually, Victoria. I have her permission. I chatted to her on the phone last week. I said, actually, Victoria, why are you here? I want to share a little story about you. Would you mind? She's like, absolutely. So Victoria started working with us a few years ago because she was suffering from anxiety. So I wanted to share this story because we're talking about anxiety today. And her anxiety presented as lots of overthinking, which led to insomnia, and self-sabotage, you know. And I don't know how big those things sound to you, but she's got 2 young girls, and when you're not sleeping, that already, you'll know, has a massive effect on how you actually function during the day, and then makes your anxiety higher anyway, which then makes you crave sugar, which then puts you on high alert even more. It's just this vicious circle that goes round and round, right? So I mentioned there, she's a mum of 2 beautiful girls. Actually, we've seen one of her girls' parties recently on Facebook, which looks so much fun. She's showing up to a demanding job. She's a scientist. She's co-parenting as well. So for anyone else out there who is co-parenting, you know how much energy that actually takes and how much you need to be really grounded to be able to deal with co-parenting, sorry. And at the time, she was relying on antidepressants, which was helping her for a while. But she comes to us saying, like, I'm not thriving and I want to be feeling better than what I am right now. She wanted natural solutions as well. What she really wanted was to show up as a role model for her girls. And I'm sure lots of us mums here will know that feeling of, we want to do better for our kids in the way that we're either parenting them because maybe we're getting a bit short-tempered, or in the way that we're actually leading by example. Like, we want to be saying, do as I do, not just do as I say. We want to be leading by example. And so she wanted to be able to just show up better, cope with life's demands, right? So as I said, she was interested in these natural solutions, and we actually started off, she was in a women's health membership to start with. She learned how to balance her emotions, how to increase her energy. She saw really big improvements, and she was able to come off medication. That was her choice. That was, one of her aims, what she wanted to do. And she'd found these kind of natural tools that enabled her to do that. And then we was really working with this ceremonial grade cacao, this medicinal chocolate, in a lot of a bigger way then. Sarah and I had kind of been introduced to it, but it wasn't a big part of our lives. So once it was, we introduced it to Victoria, and she started to use it in a very intentional, ritualistic way. So Sarah showed you that big block. Can you just show it again if anyone else is live here now? It takes a little bit of time to chop that. It doesn't always come in such big chunks to you. Where is it, Sarah? There it is. It doesn't always come in such big chunks to you because we chop it a little bit to get it to you. But there is a process of chopping it. There is a process of making it. And it's a little bit longer than making an instant coffee or a cup of tea, but that's a good thing because it makes you slow down. And it's a product that you've invested in, so you want to enjoy it and you want to smell it. And the whole ritual and intention of enjoying it really helped her to slow down. And she shared that it's been like a really pivotal point in her life. Actually, we've got a few members who use cacao every day. Is like, I don't know, what my life would look like without it. So what it's helped stop her doing is it's helped stop her having sugar cravings. Now, Sam, who's here, has shared some brilliant information, a realization. I'm sure she won't mind me sharing because it's just about avocado, so it's not personal. She shared with us this morning that I haven't eaten any avocado recently. I noticed my cravings have really come back. And then I had an avocado, and then I noticed I didn't have any cravings. And I was like, yes, it's the good fats. Good fats in our diet, of which there are a lot in ceremonial grade cacao. And we want plant-based fats if we can. So like the olive oil, the coconut oil, the avocados that Sam mentioned. Thank you, Sam. And the one in the cacao here. Plant-based fats help stop our cravings. So for Victoria, her cravings lowered. She wasn't needing as much sugar anymore, so her nervous system calmed down, and it left her very much in control of her emotions. So I just want to share with you, before I just finish this story, that she created something called Cacao Corner, which is a beautiful corner of her garden that she devoted to cacao. It had beautiful blankets and cushions. And you know what it's like when you've got kids in the house? It's like every inch of the house is kind of taken over by the kids' stuff sometimes, right? So she had this peaceful, tranquil place she could go into her garden, which was like, this is my cacao corner. And she'd post pictures about it and talk about it. And she inspired us. We were all like, we need a cacao corner. And Sarah, I haven't shared this yet, and I wanted to save it for this talk actually. But at her work, where she is a scientist, they have decided to start a chocolate club. And it's all these people who love high quality chocolate, who, you know, they get the finest chocolate. And she said, Hannah, I can bring ceremonial grade cacao. Like, they won't have heard of it. And they're going to find out about chocolate in its purest form. So it's kind of gone from something that was a coping technique to something that's really enjoyable and ritualistic, to something that's just like really enhancing her life in every way, shape and form, with corners from her house to clubs at work. And I'm just getting excited and passionate talking about it. You can tell.
That's so wonderful. This is what we want, spread the love.
Yes.
And that's what we would really invite you to do if you're struggling with anxiety, is to create a ritual that slows you down. You know, we spoke about the nervous system being on fight or flight, go, 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 hypervigilant. We need to bring in a practice that takes time, gives us meaning, slows us down and connects us with the present moment. So a daily cacao ritual can do this. And we would recommend this in the form of a drinking cacao chocolate. So it is known as a medicinal plant medicine. It's a supercharged superfood, and it really optimizes your health and also has an effect on your mental state. So it can alter your state of being. It's got lots of chemical reactions in the body as well as physiological ones. But this ritual of slowing down is going to be something that you create that means something to you, that you really love. Therefore, you can show up to it daily with no resistance or resentment. It's something that you're going to look forward to doing. So very easy to commit to. And this can then in turn act like replacement therapy for your coffee, your tea, or whatever it was you were doing, your glass of wine habit. You're just going to replace it with something that feels even better, but is actually good for you. So as we mentioned, caffeine being a stimulant, it acts on the nervous system, which for anxiety sufferers is a terrible addition. Cacao, or ceremonial cacao, which we've been talking about, is actually a cardiovascular stimulant. So it's a beautiful tonic for the heart. It relaxes the blood vessels, which opens them up. It slows down the blood pressure. And as it doesn't work on the nervous system, you know, coffee gives you that sudden jolt of energy. This works on the cardiovascular, so it actually gives very long-lasting effects on your energy, but like gentle and long-lasting. And it's great for focus as well. So we spoke about it slowing your thoughts, slowing you down. It slows those racing thoughts down so you can concentrate on, you know, one or two things at a time rather than that monkey mind jumping from thing to thing. And it does actually work on the heart energy. So it creates a lot of trust. And that's something I think when you're feeling anxious, you feel like you need to be in control a little bit. So you're trying to juggle all these balls and taking so much responsibility on yourself. So you can lean into trust more. And it is something during the lockdown, Hannah, so we'd had a practice with it a little bit. We used it from time to time. But I did find myself in lockdown 1 as a self-employed worker, sudden this state of unpredictability of income, of health, of the future. You know, didn't have a clue what was happening. And I'd use my yoga practices and meditations to get me into a balanced state from a very anxious person. But suddenly I had found that, again, I was feeling anxious and I was actually going to a glass of rosé. So Saturday afternoon, I was a bit bored, feeling anxious. I started to pop open the sparkling vegan wine, which in the moment I did find, okay, I feel a bit more relaxed. But what would happen the next day, of course, I'd wake up feeling even worse. Dehydration, headache, reaching for the carbs, you know, the croissants, the bread, and wanting another drink to bring me back down to feeling relaxed again. So that's when I decided to bring cacao in as a daily ritual. So I really found, because it was a complete food that really made me feel satisfied, I didn't feel like I was missing out on anything. In fact, I was able to give up alcohol for nearly a year. And I replaced that rose with rose syrup and rose petals in my cacao, which again works on the blood, it works on the heart energy, and it just adds another lovely flavour to the cacao. And there's lots of different ways you can flavour your cacao. So yeah, for me, it was a great coping technique, opened up the heart, created more trust, and improved my health at the same time.
Yeah, I think this is really important actually, is I wanted to make a live in the group about this yesterday, about crowding out. Sometimes we know, like, oh, I know wine's not good for me, but I really love it. And so you don't want to give it up because it's actually giving something to you, relaxation in that moment. So I love this crowding out, which is like, well, what can I have that's like equally as delicious, but better for me? And I love how you just replace like the rosé wine with the rose syrup and the rose in the cacao. And then you're like, well, it is just as delicious and I do want to have it. And so now it's not hard anymore. I'm not going without.
Yeah.
So how can this help you? How can you use it? Anything that's natural is not going to have much of an effect if you do like occasional use, right? Let's face it, if you're having coffee, you're probably having at least one a day, if not more, or tea. And same with chocolate, we're not doing it occasionally. Same if you are taking antibiotics, you've got to take them 4 times a day for them to work and to have a good effect. So anything natural we want to be doing often, and we don't need to do it as much as 4 times a day, but with cacao we would recommend once a day. And like Sarah said, it's very easy to stick to because it's so delicious. So I have been holding off on my cacao this morning, thinking, oh, it'd be really nice to have it so I can show it, when we do the talk. So I've been looking forward to it until right now. But this daily practice is going to benefit you twofold. One, it's going to slow you down, but 2, it's going to give you the amazing nutritional benefits of the superfood that it is. So things like vitamin D, because it's grown in the sunshine. Vitamin D is really hard to get through food. You may have even heard that you can't get vitamin D through food and that you have to get it just from the sun. There are some foods that have it. For example, sun-dried tomatoes, because they're dried in the sun, and cacao, because it's grown in the rainforest underneath the sun. So amazing for our mood, right? Vitamin D is known as the sunshine vitamin because it can lift us up out of a blue mood. Magnesium, it's full pack, chock-a-full. Do you get that? chock-a-full of magnesium, which helps to relax our muscles, which can help us drift off into a sleep more easily. There's loads of benefits of magnesium, but particularly with anxiety, I like it. It really calms the nervous system. It's got zinc in it, which is an amazing vitamin for the mind. And also, beans are fermented, which makes it a probiotic, which means it's great for your gut health. So there's IBS symptoms I mentioned earlier. Like all of this, you're getting in 1 cup of like delicious chocolate a day. So we recommend about 2 tablespoons, which is about 15 to 20 grams. You'd need to check what's right for you, but that gives you an idea on what you'd want to enjoy. Some people start a lot smaller, so you might just start with a teaspoon or a tablespoon and then work up to 2 tablespoons. But I just want to share this study with you from one of our suppliers, which was amazing. So they done a kind of they took a control group and done a scientific study to get some actual statistics on cacao. And when they took this control group, 60% of the group said that they felt anxious or stressed at the beginning of the study. Now, the only thing they changed in their life was to drink ceremonial grey cacao for 21 days. And at the end of the study, at the end of 21 days, only 6% of participants were still feeling anxious or stressed. So isn't that incredible? From just adding a cup of chocolate, the right kind of chocolate, to your day, it's dropping people from 60% of people feeling anxious and stressed to just 6%. So that kind of proves the result of it, really.
Wow.
Now, I just want to tell you a little bit about why it's different from cacao powder, because it is come from the same product, but cacao powder has been separated from the fats. So cacao powder has not got all the natural fats in it, which means it's been heated to a high temperature to separate it, which means a lot more of the nutrients have been destroyed. And also it hasn't got the fats in there that are giving us long-lasting effects. So I do want to mention, actually, because Sarah mentioned caffeine and how it doesn't help you if you've got anxiety. Cacao does have caffeine in it, a very low dose, but because of the fats that are mixed in with it, it makes the effect in the body last 4 to 5 hours, which is fantastic. Now, I am very caffeine sensitive. I can't drink a coffee these days anymore. Occasionally have a decaf, but I'm absolutely fine on cacao. It doesn't give me the jitters. It really helps with my cravings. Like I mentioned earlier, it really helps with cravings. And it hasn't got any sugar in it whatsoever. So
Wow.
so a lot of the things that we're leaning towards have got sugar in them. Now, you may want to just add a little bit of something, a tiny bit of honey or a tiny bit of maple syrup to acclimatise your palate to this bitter flavour. But Sarah mentioned earlier how cacao is amazing for the heart. And one of those reasons is because it's bitter and the bitter flavour supports the heart, which is one reason why we actually crave coffee. We crave this bitter flavour because we don't have it in the diet and we can get it like right here. And like I say, you might just want a tiny bit of sweetener just to acclimatise yourself to it. And then Sarah, you take yours completely pure, do you?
I've been mixing it up recently. I find it pure is really delicious, but we actually have a new product. It's called Ceremonial Blends, which has got a very natural sugar in there with a little bit of cinnamon and a bit of chili, and it's so nice. Actually, I've been using that a lot recently.
Yeah, I've got that in here today, so about half a teaspoon of that. So that sugar that Sarah mentioned is called panela, which is a sugar that's a lot less processed. It's got a lot of minerals in it as well. So we're always looking like, how can we hack things? How can we put more into it that's actually going to help us, you know? But let me just say with the cacao, you may not love it from the first cup because it is bitter and it is indulgent. But a bit like coffee and alcohol, perhaps you didn't like those the first time that you tried it. And I'd say for some of our clients love it immediately. They're like, I love it. I want it every single day. And others, I'd say it takes them about 3 cups to get used to it. Get used to something. Maybe like if you're a kid and you're trying spinach for the first time, right? You've got to keep going a few times, right? So the last thing that I just wanted to say about the cacao and how you can use it is, why is ceremonial grade cacao, why is it called ceremonial grade? So I just wanted to explain a little bit about that, because if you've never heard that word ceremonial, you might wonder, what does that mean? It means that this cacao is grown with the intention of using it as a medicine, so medicinal effect. It's a lot less processed. It's processed by hand, so it's minimally processed, which means a lot more of the nutrients are intact. It comes from ancient varieties of the tree, and it's also selected for its purity, which is really, really important with the ceremonial grade cacao, that you're using the really pure stuff, not the stuff that's moldy or, you know, the stuff that is not quite intact. We want to be using the purest cacao we can get our hands on, and it's organic as well.
Wow. Well, if that doesn't sound good enough, we'd definitely love to invite you to try it out. So think about bringing it in as a daily ritual, something that feels easy, feels like something you love, and it slows you down. So we've spoken about this and how it can be really helpful for anxiety. But there are so many different ways that you can use cacao. Recently, we have been looking into the benefits for menstruation and easing PMS and cramps and difficult changes within your cycle.
Yeah.
So Hannah and I actually have a free 4-day challenge starting on Monday.
Yeah.
There is a pop-up Facebook group for this, so we'll put that in the comments, and we'll be talking about more of the benefits to use it in that way alongside other practices that can help. But for now, if you're local to Kent, come along and see us on Sunday. We've got this talk at the Kent Wellness Festival. Or pop any comments in the box. We'd love to. We've got a few blogs we can direct you to, or just answer your questions.
Yeah.
But if you're feeling anxious, this is such a low-hanging fruit. It is actually a low-hanging fruit, literally. So we really encourage you to try it. And not only have we had profound effects for our health, so many of our clients, it's really changed their relationships and their health as well. So we'd love for you just to give it a try and let us know how you get on. And the important thing is, when you're trying something new, is to track it. So notice the effects it's having, because often we'll bring something new in and our life is so busy we don't notice the effects.
Yeah.
So how is it you track something? Do you keep a journal? Do you do a daily check-in, a somatic check-in? Do you have a coach that you use or something like that? So do measure and track the benefits it's creating in your life. That's the end of our talk. We hope you found some use from that. Thank you for joining us.
If you know anyone who's struggling with anxiety where you think this talk would help them, invite them to the group, maybe tag them in below so they can see it. But thank you for joining us, for your comments today. We hope that you will embrace ceremonial grey cacao, or at least give it a go and see if it works for you, and see some of you in the challenge on Monday as well. See you. Bye.
Bye.